Greetings and salutations, comic book conversationalists. This is Comic Book Hangover. My name is Scott, and here we are at long last with the 200th weekly haul video. Now going back to weekly haul, weekly reviews. They're going to be on Saturdays now. That way, it'll give me a chance to read some books. It'll also give you guys out there a chance to read your book, and then you can come in on Saturday, see what I picked up if you're interested in that, and also see what I think about some of these books that have come out. Now, again, this is just going to be for comic books, maybe some trades or whatever, but mostly comic books. I'm not going to be talking about any movies. I'm not going to talk about any of that stuff. That's one thing that this channel does not do, is talk about the comic book movies, because I personally am not a fan of the MCU. I watched Iron Man, and even, I mean, it was entertaining, but just the way that they portray Tony Stark, he was just annoying and obnoxious and stupid, and I just don't like the way that they dumbed everything down for the movies and changed everything. Which wouldn't be all that bad for me, but the fact that Marvel changes the comics to match the movies just makes it worse and makes me dislike the movies even more, because I know what's going on in the comics, but nowadays it's hard to know what's going on because everything has changed because of these stupid movies. And I mean, the movies they're just really bad imitations in my opinion, but that's just something that I don't do here. I just talk about the comic books. So there's gonna be a couple of books every week, anywhere from 1 to 3, maybe like 4 books every week that I'm going to talk about. Excuse me. I'm going to talk about at the end of the stack that I go through. So the best way I can do it is I'll go through my stack, I'll give you my spoiler warning, and then we're going to talk about a book or two. All right. So this week I'm only going to talk about one book because I mean, honestly, with everything that's going on with my dad and you know, with all the stuff that's going on around and school, I only really had time to read one book that came out this week, and I definitely want to talk about it. So let's get into it. I put them in a weird kind of order. So they're a mix of stuff that came out last week and this week. And we're going to start off with Transformers #1, second print. I grabbed the Optimus Prime cover. I'm going to try to get all these covers here for Transformers where they have the symbol in the back and a character in the front. So I'm going to try to get all those. So there is the Optimus Prime cover. I, of course, picked up the Starscream cover. It is gorgeous. I love it. And I was only going to get those two, but then there's this one. I am not a fan of Bumblebee. Most of the people in my generation are not fans of Bumblebee. And it wasn't until the Bayformers movies came out that Bumblebee actually became a thing and was forced on the masses as being like a popular character. But for anybody who's read Transformers #1, this may be a spoiler, but the book came out like a month ago, so we should be fine. There is the Bumblebee cover. I love this cover. It's great. Bumblebee never looked better. And then I got Transformers #2. Well, I grabbed one cover, but Transformers #2, Starscream cover there. So Garbage Pail Kids Trashing Through Time. This is, hold on. These ones come with trading cards. I'm trying to knock that trading card down. I didn't take this one out of the I am going to open this one up so I can read it. But this is Trashing Through Time, issue 2. This is the trading card variant cover. Let's try to get some of that glare off there. It's going to look kind of weird because it's got that stupid poly bag on it. But these ones I open up. It's kind of a force of habit, being from the 90s, where you would get one, if a book came polybagged, you would, you know, buy 2 of them, so you have one to open and one to read. I don't think that works anymore, because even if I were to send this into CGC or whatever, CBCS, to get it graded, they would open it up anyway, so what's the point in keeping the stupid things in the polybags? But this is the one I got this week. I also got this gorgeous, oh my god, this is beautiful. This is one of those covers, again, that is much better to look at in person than it is on a video or in picture. But this is What If Dark, Tomb of Dracula, the Lilith cover. Absolutely gorgeous. It doesn't get much better than that right there. I love that. All right, and sticking with Marvel, Thanos #1. I was going to get this. I'm not a big fan of Thanos being on Earth and dealing with, you know, humans all the time. So it kind of lessened the impact of him. Again, going back to the MCU, they really watered the character down and just made him kind of lame. But I love a good homage cover. I especially love an homage cover, the Infinity Gauntlet #1. So I got Thanos #1, Infinity Gauntlet homage. Beautiful. Took me a second to figure out who this guy was, because I don't really follow a whole lot of what Marvel is now. I know it's Blue Marvel, I think he's called, but I know who everybody else is, so I guess that's all right. And finally from Marvel, Doctor Strange #9, which may be one of the last issues of this series that I pick up, because when I saw that this one was coming out this week, I was like, wait a minute, did I read issue 8? I had to go back and look at issue 8 to see if I'd actually read it. And usually for me, when I can't remember what happens in the previous month's issue, that's usually an indicator to me that it's time to drop the book. But there is they're doing a line of Wolverine variant covers, and there's an issue of Doctor Strange coming up that the variant cover is going to be Wolverine doing an homage of Ghost Rider Volume 2 #1, the Danny Ketch Ghost Rider, the first issue, and it's one of my favorite covers, so I want to pick that up at least. But I may be dropping this one very, very soon. From DC, actually DC and Legendary, I grabbed the foil variant of the Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. It's a great read, but I got the foil variant cover for that. Speaking of Godzilla, Here There Be Giants, #5, final issue of that. Again, I'm trying to only grab one cover for these books from now on. Well, there's that one. And some reprints here. Wonder Woman War of the Gods Special Edition #404. I know this came out a couple of weeks ago, but for some reason I missed it. And again, the only reason I'm getting this is because it has Lobo in it, and I had to find him on the cover there. He's actually right there is Lobo. As long as he's in it, I'll pick it up. Some facsimile editions. These are all DC facsimile editions. So we got Wonder Woman #1. And again, and what's really weird is these are books I'm probably never going to read, but I like the old school covers for them, and I may end up doing something with them, like putting them in a frame, or if I can get a spinner rack, I'm going to put a bunch of them in a spinner rack, just because these kind of books always look good. But I grabbed that one. I got All American Comics #16. Nice old school sort of kind of an iconic cover there for that one. And All Star Comics #3. And now the DC facsimile ones, they're not like Marvel. Marvel has these little things that indicate that you can look at the cover and say, okay, that is a facsimile edition. DC doesn't really do that. Really, the only way to find out a cover, especially for these older books, the cover price right there you want to look at. That's really the only way to see that this in fact is a reprint. So like this one here is $6.99. Seems ridiculous to charge $7 for a reprint. Another $6.99. So these are all $6.99 cover price. But you see, it's got that $6.99. Where's she at? The $6.99 sticker cover price right there, and we got the $6.99 right there. And so that's the best way to see that these in fact are reprint issues. Now, excuse me, my allergies are acting up a little bit again, so it's that time of year. I love it. So the one book that I do want to talk about that I picked up, the one book that I was actually able to read before I did this recording, is Transformers #2. It has been a long time. Actually, hold on a second. Spoiler warning. Okay, so we're going to do sort of I guess 10-second spoiler warning. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoilers forthcoming, all right? So Transformers, what I was going to say was it's been a long time since I have had a top-of-the-stack book, a book that, regardless of what comes out that week, regardless of if I have the time to read a book, this is the one book that I am going to go out of my way to read. And after reading the first issue of Transformers, this is officially a top-of-the-stack book. It does not get any more exciting, interesting, or unique than this. This, what's his name? Daniel Warren Johnson. Daniel Warren Johnson, who's writing and drawing this series, has really, the first issue knocked it out of the park. This issue keeps it up. It's not, so far we really haven't gotten a whole lot of Decepticon versus Autobots. We're laying down the foundation of this version, this iteration, this universe for the Transformers. We're laying down the foundation and doing a really good job of it. We're building up to something. We've referenced Megatron. We've talked about Cybertron. In this issue here, we got more humans getting squished, which I absolutely love it. But the cool thing is, and this is a big spoiler, guys, so I'm hoping that if you don't want anything spoiled, if you haven't read this issue yet, there is a panel in this one that actually pertains to the cover. It's actually a sequence that leads into one panel where you've got these, it's brothers, two brothers in a fighter plane, find out that there's these weird things going on, so they go to investigate, and they have a confrontation with Starscream, and Starscream attacks them. They wind up having to eject out of the plane, and as one guy is coming down, he goes in front of Starscream. Starscream just kind of squishes him and tries to do the same thing to the other dude, but the other dude gets away. The really cool thing is, that dude that gets away, you see in one panel, you see the name on his jacket. It just says Duke. Now, anybody who's worth their salt in 80s lore knows that when it comes to a guy named Duke that's flying a plane, that's in the military, there's only one Duke that pertains to. And that's the dude from G.I. Joe. Yo, Joe. So there's our big crossover. It also begins to make sense, because if you've seen the cover for Duke #1 that's coming out next month, actually it's a couple of weeks, it's going to be coming out. It's got Duke with Starscream in the background. And I always wondered what the hell that meant. Why is Starscream in the background? Of all the Transformers put there, why would it be Starscream? Now it makes sense. So will Starscream be in Duke? Will he be part of that? I don't know. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be exciting to see. I'm going to check out Duke. I'm checking out Cobra Commander. They're going to be 4-issue miniseries. I'm totally okay with that. So Transformers, so far we're only 2 issues into this, and this has been such a great read. So much fun, so much excitement. We got pathos. We got great characterization. Even though they've changed things, like, Spike and Sparkplug, their relationship with each other, their personalities are different. Carly's a completely different chick in this series, but it works because we're taking a time to learn who these characters are, who these versions are. So they're the same characters, but they're different versions of them, and we're getting a chance to learn who they are. So Daniel Warren Johnson is doing a great job with this series. He's a great artist. I love the art. Every page is just amazing. Every panel is amazing. The story is great. The characterizations are awesome. Saying like Optimus Prime, you really get the idea of how the weight of leadership and the burden of what has happened between the Autobots and the Decepticons and Cybertron and having to leave it. You really feel the weight of that burden on him. And Starscream, just these guys, the Decepticons, they just don't care. They're having so much fun just destroying things and popping people. It's great. So, amazing read, great covers, great interior art. The pacing is absolutely perfect. Couldn't ask for better pacing in a Transformers comic. I have not had this much fun with a Transformers comic book since All Hail Megatron from IDW. That series, to me, ended the IDW run. After that, everything went downhill. Actually, no, it didn't go downhill. It was like All Hail Megatron, there's the cliff, and there's everything else. It just became pure garbage. In my own opinion, I know a lot of people like this, so this is just my opinion, guys. IDW's Transformers line went pure garbage after All Hail Megatron. But this series here, this redeems it in full effect. Check it out. It's got a great, it's got everything going for it. I love it. I don't know how much more I can praise this book, praise this series. It's doing great. I'm excited to see where it goes. So now I'm loving Void Rivals. I'm loving Transformers. And I'm actually excited for G.I. Joe books. I have never been excited for a G.I. Joe comic. And as I started collecting comics in 1990, and that entire time, I've never really been this excited. I think the closest would be when Transformers Generation 2 showed up in the G.I. Joe comic book, and we got that crossover. But as far as like ground level and just getting into a G.I. Joe book, never had an interest in the series. But I'm loving it. I can't wait for it. So exciting, so awesome, so amazing. So that's it. I do recommend Transformers from Image. It has become a top of the stack book for me. It's actually the only top of the stack book that I'm reading right now. Out of DC, Marvel, all of them, this is the book. When it comes out, I'm reading this book day one. I don't care what I got to do it. So that said, everybody, thank you for especially those of you who have stayed with me this entire time. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. 200 episodes, 200 weekly hauls. Not really so much reviews, but we're going back to that. It's great. It's been a great ride. I know everything's been kind of wonky the past year and a half or so, but we're powering through because, comic books are what it's all about. World needs more comics. World needs more comic book fans. So I'm still planning on doing some other videos to get this channel some variety, some other things. So hopefully we can get some different stuff going here. But I'm gonna have to wrap this up because I am losing daylight. I hate daylight savings time. It's the most idiotic thing ever. And the fact that we have to rely on Congress to end this thing, and for some reason those dipshits up there don't want to do it. I think we should just, as the American people collectively, we should just say, you know what? Screw it. To hell with it. We're not doing daylight savings time anymore. We're not changing our clocks anymore. This is the time. This is the time. That's it. And Congress, they have a fit. Like, you know what? You guys can leave. We don't need you people anyway. You're just screwing everything up as it is. So anyway, wrapping it up. Losing daylight. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for your continued and ongoing support. I really, really, really appreciate it. So 200 episodes, looking forward to another 200. I can't wait till I get to like 1,000. I'm planning long term for these sort of things. So again, thanks everybody. Hope you guys all enjoyed your books. Those of you guys grabbed Transformers, let me know in the comments down below what you think about it. I'm enjoying this book. I love it. I think it's great. So yeah, let me know. Let's have a discussion about it, and we will see everybody hopefully next week. I'm looking at the list, and it doesn't look like I got a whole lot coming out next week, so I may not have a video out next week. If not, I'll definitely have one out the following week on Saturday. I know we got the holidays coming up, and that always kind of screws things up, but we're still going to do the best we can with what we got. And everybody have a great weekend. Have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy your new comic books, and that's it. We'll see you guys real soon. Have a good one.